It's baking season, and to celebrate this wonderful time of year, today we're going to make a healthier version of good old pumpkin bread, which is loaded with pumpkin and nutrition. It comes with 3 different layers of pumpkin flavor to make it taste better, and at the end of the video I'll show you how to make this delicious pumpkin bread in a mug too. I love quick breads because they're quick and taste really good, there's no yeast or rising, and making it from scratch is much easier than you might think. So if you're a fan of my oatmeal banana bread and loaded zucchini bread, you're going to love this recipe. But the truth is, you'll find that most pumpkin breads out there are packed with sugar and oil and lack in fiber, so I wanted to make a pumpkin bread healthy enough to be enjoyed for breakfast or snack. This bread takes 10 minutes to whip up, and you start by mixing dry and wet ingredients in separate bowls because you want to avoid overmixing the batter. Instead of all-purpose flour, I'm using homemade oat flour combined with some quick cooking oats for texture and of course more fiber. Too much rising and your bread will deflate as it cools down, so add just a half teaspoon both baking soda and baking powder, a pinch of salt for extra flavor, and pumpkin spice, which you should be able to find in your grocery store. If not, I suggest you make it by yourself. It takes a minute. Just combine together cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cloves and allspice, and here you have your homemade pumpkin spice blend ready to be used for all your baked goods. Then you're going to whisk together all the wet ingredients, first eggs for fluffy texture. You can easily make it vegan by swapping out the eggs for flax eggs, it will be delicious too. For sweetness, I go with liquid sweeteners, so you can use maple syrup, honey, date syrup or agave. Just make sure it's liquid to keep the ingredient ratio the same. Now the star of this recipe, the pumpkin puree. Again, you can use store-bought or homemade. I baked my butternut squash for 1 hour, blended into a puree without adding any additional ingredients, so I can use it for other recipes as well. I prefer butternut squash because it's lower water content. I just don't want to bother with straining the excess water. If buying, make sure you get unsweetened pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling. Anyway, the homemade stuff bursts with flavor and it's naturally sweet. Okay, this is the first layer of pumpkin in this recipe, and for leftover pumpkin puree, just put it aside, we're going to use it again later. Also add some applesauce and drop of vanilla extract. Applesauce is great for baking, use it instead of vegetable oil. The dry ingredients goes in and mix it just until combined, no more than that. And to take this pumpkin bread to the next level, yes, add some chocolate chips. I'm using dark chocolate chips to keep it on the healthier side. 1/4 cup is just enough, you don't want a chocolate in every tiny bite. You can go with chopped walnuts instead of chocolate or just skip it completely. Pour the batter into a prepared loaf pan, it's slightly thick but still pourable. Spread evenly and sprinkle the top with some pumpkin seeds, which is the second layer of pumpkin flavor. Bake for 35 minutes, then place a piece of aluminum foil on top because oats tend to brown too quickly, and continue to bake for another 20 to 25 minutes. Don't overbake it, it has to be moist in the inside, so let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes and flip it over onto a wire rack. Cool completely or eat hot. I choose cool, it's more soft in texture and has a deeper pumpkin spice flavor. Slice as thick as you like, I ended up having 12 slices. As you can see, this pumpkin bread, even lower in fat, is moist and tender in every bite. It's delicious on its own or with some room temperature butter on top, but let's use up the leftover pumpkin puree and apply the third layer of pumpkin flavor. This is a pumpkin whipped cream. It's so light and perfect on a slice of fresh pumpkin bread. You just whip up cream, mix in some honey and leftover pumpkin puree, and you're done. I'm truly excited, this bread turned out so delicious. It's moist, heavy on pumpkin flavor and not too sweet at all. I think it's a perfect make-ahead breakfast option, so this is the recipe you should definitely make this fall. To make a mug version of this pumpkin bread, in a coffee mug add ground oats, baking powder, pumpkin spice, milk, your sweetener and pumpkin puree. Stir it up well and microwave on high for 1 minute. You can find the recipe in the description below. If pumpkin is not your thing but you want to make some quick bread, I highly recommend you try out this oatmeal banana bread. It is the best way to use leftover bananas and it's a great to share with family and friends. Check out that recipe now. Thank you so much for watching, see you in another video. Stay healthy, stay happy.